A FAM production for all things mattress. FAM.news.
There is a hostile takeover of the Dos Marcos podcast. We're going to tell you all about it. Leadership program at Nationwide, and we have a special guest, and gosh, he's handsome, coming to you in 3 seconds.
Welcome to the Dos Marcos Show with Mark Kinsley and Mark Quinn, where mattress and furniture leaders gather to grow, get the inside scoop, tell stories, and take tequila shots.
Uno, dos, tequila!
Welcome aboard. Here's your passport to a planet filled with the mattress industry's brightest minds and biggest ideas. Meet your guides.
I'm Mark Kinsley, President and CEO of Englander.
And I'm Mark Quinn, co-founder of Spink & Co. and VP of Sherwood Bedding.
Together, they are Dos Marcos.
The galaxy's greatest mattress podcast has liftoff in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, so glad to be here. Hey, Kinsley, look who we've got. The one, the only Mike Whitaker on the show today. How about that?
The bearded bandit, here he is.
The bearded bandit. You're looking good, Mikey. How's it going, buddy?
It's going fantastic. I feel like there was a little bit of a false premise on this. I thought Kinsley was already on vacation.
No, Kinsley is going on vacation, and it's going to be me and you, and we're going to talk about all of that, Mike, and how we're going to completely disrupt the show, change the format, so when Kinsley comes back, he's not even going to know what the hell's going on here. But
guys,
before we get to all that,
Aloha shirts. I mean, as tan as this alabaster porcelain skin can get, and totally relaxed. And I hope that I don't have a podcasting job on the backside of this. I hope you guys are so good. The audience says, we want Mike and Mark, no mas dos Marcos. I want it to be that good.
Impossible.
There's no way that happens. And what we like to do is actually manage expectations much better. All we're asking is that while you're on vacation, that the audience will humor us through all the things that will happen without proper adult supervision.
Well, there's a lot that's going to happen without adult supervision. All right, before we get to that, though, you guys, we got to talk about door counts, Kinsley, because you know why? They're doing amazing stuff. They're growing all the time. It seems like I keep getting these email messages from Jerry at Door Counts about they're adding retailers all the time. And you know why they're growing? It's because their data is incredible. And it's not just data. You can have data and you cannot fly blind. You have information that helps you make good decisions, but it's also the selling process and how they integrate the data into the selling process to increase conversion rates.
You know what it made me think of with door counts? This just hit me. It's almost like when you go on a website and you run an e-commerce business, you have all this data about where people clicked, or you have heat maps about where they spent time, and you have conversion rates for certain products, and you have all these numbers about who added what product to your cart. Well, what if you could take that amazing data experience that you get from running an e-commerce store and overlay it into a physical environment? So now, like, your store is like this website where you're gathering all this data, you're making sure your customers are taken care of, you're connecting your salespeople properly and over time to customers that walk in the door that buy and don't buy. And that's what people are saying to us about the data Door Counts provides. It's next level. It helps you serve people better and sell a lot more. And Door Counts 3.0 just came out. You got to go get with Jerry to see what's new. Go to doorcounts.com. It really is kind of that overlay effect. So tell them we sent you. We're happy to help you out. So give us a shout and we'll be your concierge to get you through to Jerry, Amber, Jack, Brad, and the team over there. So it's really cool stuff.
And it's a great team over there. You know what we got coming up, Kinsley, also is the Furniture Today Bedding Conference. And the cool thing about that is the Dos Marcos audience is getting a special deal. If you want to go attend that, it's virtual. It's going to be very, very interesting. We've got a futurist that's been on our show, actually, and the dates are coming up, Kinsley.
Hey, we've got Dr. V is going to be there. You got Mike Magnuson with Good Bed. Yours truly will be on a bedding producers panel. A lot of times I'll say the bedding producers panel needs some spice. So I'm going to bring that flavor to it. It's May 18th through the 20th. So it's coming up really quickly. if you are on the FAM newsletter, you're going to get that special offer. So go to fam.news, and in every newsletter going out between now and then, you can see how you can get a cheap deal, Dos Marcos exclusive. And that's what's happening, man. It's like, I feel like the world's coming back together a little bit. This is probably going to be the last virtual conference that Furniture Today does. And even with Nationwide, we're seeing, hey, it's about to pop. We're about to get back together in person. So for those who don't know, Mike Whitaker, he's the mayor of Nationwide. I call him, his official title for me is Mike Saves the Day Whitaker, because he's usually saving the day in some way. He's my hero, one of my heroes. And he's going to be taking my slot when I take my wife to Hawaii, to Maui for our 15th anniversary. So I'm hoping this is going to at least get me 15 more years. Then I'm going to have to re-up in some way. But in the meantime, are you guys going to be okay together? I'm kind of worried.
So I got to tell you, there's been some planning going on the side, Kinsley. There's been quite a bit of planning going on the side, and all that planning centers around disruption. Now, I know that if for those that have been in the audience of Dos Marcos for now over 200 episodes, you've noticed that the formatting of the Dos Marcos podcast keeps getting better and better and better, and all new special effects and segment headers and all the great things that happen. This is really grown. And our promise to you, Kinsley, is that over those 2 weeks, we will break every single bit of that.
Yeah, you know why? Because I don't have the fancy production board Kinsley does, so we're really screwed.
I already noticed like a major snafu in the beginning. I mean, Quinn gave the teaser. I'm like, hey, today, usually I'm the formatics guy, but in the opener, he said, coming at you in 3 seconds. And I'm like, our show intro is about 30 seconds. So it's already off the skids, but I'm sure it'll get worse.
That's only if you don't factor in. They have continued to add options in all of our favorite places to listen to podcasts. You go on Apple Podcasts and you don't have a lot of time. You want to get all 40 minutes of this episode in, and you need to do it in 4 minutes. You just play it back at 10x speed. So for those who are playing at 10x speed, that 30-second intro, 3 seconds, we're done here.
Thank you, Mike. Exactly. Kinsley, I don't know if I have to explain all of this to you. There's some technical things that maybe you're not savvy to. So you just sit tight. You don't worry about us. 3 seconds, 30 seconds, it doesn't matter. We're giving great content and it's coming at you regardless of how long it is. And I think the people out there listening to that would say 3 seconds is fine. If it took 30 seconds, that's fine too. I'm not going to sweat it.
By the way, are we recording video right now? I just want to be sure.
I think so, yeah.
You think so? Did it say record both audio and video?
Yeah.
I just want to be sure. Okay. Now.
Well, now what am I supposed to do? I mean, do I stop
we're
it?
already
Do you want
in
me
it.
do you want me to stop it? It says
I'm planting seeds of doubt so you know that, hey, on the front end, you got to get it all right. Just because I care about people seeing your two handsome faces. They need to see you. They want to see you.
When are you going on vacation? I think you need to go on vacation. I think you need to let it go.
You're due for one. Yeah,
he's like uptight. Is he not uptight? He needs to like relax a little bit.
Well,
my shoulders should go from here to here.
Every great trio has that one guy who sweats every detail. We could throw a quick poll up on the fam. Out of this little trio right here, who's the worrier? Anybody have any doubt whatsoever? Your options are Kinsley, or Kinsley.
Wait, What I heard was who's the warrior? Kinsley, for sure.
No. It was not warrior. It was war. All right, so Whitaker, we got to go to you, man. We are, we are 90 as of the recording of this. We're 92 days away from going to one of my favorite towns.
As we're recording this, there's a huge digital board on the wall of my office. It lives there every single day. It drives people crazy. At this very moment, we are 92 days, 5 hours, 36 minutes, and 56 seconds from kickoff at prime time in Nashville, Tennessee.
Kickoff for a live prime time where people are together once again, Whitaker. That's big stuff.
It is big. It is critical to the industry that we get back face to face. And so much so that we could not wait another 92 days to get back face to face with our dealers As you know, we went through 2 virtual prime times, hugely successful virtual prime times, but even the best virtual events on the planet, there's a few things that are missing, which is why everybody is so hungry to get back to live face-to-face events. And I believe that's really from both sides of the aisle, from the member community to the manufacturing community as well, to get back to that face-to-face interactions, those things that only happen in the room. If you get in that room together, a lot of things happen that aren't possible when we're connected digitally. Now, don't get me wrong. We all really enhanced our expertise at communicating digitally over the past 18 months. But from what we're hearing, and I'd love to know what you're hearing, Zoom fatigue is very real and is fully here. Would you agree?
Zoom zombies.
Yeah.
We've become Zoom zombies, like even the swirly, twirly eyes and the whole thing.
You know what's weird? I had a call set up with someone the other day, and it was a phone call. And I'm like, this is like, we're just going to have a phone call? Like, that was the oddity. It wasn't weird to go on a Zoom call as it used to be. Like, we weren't doing that often prior to COVID. And then now it's like the total norm, and it was just a phone call. And I'm like, that's bizarre. How are we not doing a Zoom call?
Well, and we also got into a place, there was a really interesting piece put out by the Harvard Business Review a couple weeks back, talking about the vast increase in the number of meetings that we have because of how convenient it is to disrupt the days of a lot of folks in our world, a lot of folks in our sphere. We can very quickly send out that Teams invite, that Zoom invite, and say, let's get together and have a meeting. So much so that Mark sent me a coffee cup before the pandemic, long before the pandemic, that has become one of the staples of my life. It's a coffee mug that says, I survived another meeting that should have been an email. It's become so prevalent that, well, let's just all hop on a Zoom. And when we do it, we're getting that tiny bit of FaceTime, but we also know that people are multitasking and switch tasking through that whole call. They're checking the email. They're sending the text messages. We don't have that focus, that personal connection that we only get in person. And we've reached that point. The CDC just came out with new guidelines, relaxing the wearing of masks for those who are fully vaccinated, letting us get more people in the same place at the same time. And in the relaxations of the guidelines that the health experts have given, not only do we know that primetime in Nashville is a go, we will have folks together face-to-face. We're going to get folks together face-to-face in about 10 days. We are coming up on a series, the Independent Channel's first live events, first post-pandemic true FaceTime events. We have a series of regional events planned all across the country, kicking off May 25th and 26th in Dallas, Texas, then June 3rd and 4th in Seattle, June 7th and 8th in Orlando, and finally June 9th and 10th in St. Louis. And the response from the dealers has been phenomenal. In many cases, they were wanting to sign up for the event before they had ever seen the agenda, the content. They said, listen, are there going to be dealers together in a room? If so, I'm in.
We actually posted a story up on fam.news, and the headline is 67-week streak ends as Nationwide hosts 4 regional in-person events. And I thought that was such a big number, 67 weeks, not together, not seeing each other, not sharing a drink, not sharing a meal. And you think about how we're wired as human beings. We're wired to be together. Yeah, we have to sleep, we have to eat and drink, but we have to have each other. And I think that I'm just so excited that's coming to an end. Obviously, there are new ways to kind of operate in public, and everybody's respectful of each other that I've seen. But man, it's going to be great to be back together and give people hugs. And so guys, you two wild animals are going to be out there hosting some of these events. What's the content like? Give us a little preview, some takeaways, some good information. What are you going to be talking about with these dealers when you get together in person?
So I'll take you through kind of a global agenda, and then we really need to give the top secret backstory to the keynote at these events, and we'll share that right here with just our Dos Marcos fam. We'll share that just with those around the campfire.
The inside
but these
story.
Events, Yeah, the inside scoop on the genius of Mark Quinn. So these events, in every case, and this is how we've done events for a very, very long time, it comes from being in tune with what the dealers need and where the dealers need support. So our field team has been back on the road now for a couple months in a very limited and structured capacity, as you said, being respectful of the health guidelines in place. They're making over 30,000 touches with members every year. And that's what drives that focus in our events for the members. Where do you need to be? So the members came back and they said, listen, we all know that the shopper journey has evolved. The accelerator was hit during a pandemic. Consumer behavior moved decades in a matter of months. What does the new shopper journey look like? What are the best practices that folks are finding success with? What are the challenges that you've overcome creatively, and how did you do that? So this event kicks off with an overview of that new shopper journey, with just the latest facts, the latest data around the shopper journey. And you mentioned door counts as we led in. It's one of those areas where we firmly believe that in the absence of data, opinions matter. But when data can be available, it's going to give you a better path forward to make your decisions. The same thing's true when it comes to the shopper journey. And that's a place where our partnership with Door Counts, we lean in very heavily there, because there's so many things we're doing in the marketing realm that we can measure certain successes based on metrics we get online, based on, well, this is the traffic we drove to the website. This is where we went to that landing page. These are the folks that we know clicked for directions or made a phone call. All the marketing efforts in the world culminate in one of two things. In our categories, a small percentage of those folks engage in e-commerce and they make that purchase online. But the vast majority of marketing success is defined as that door opens, the door swings, and that guest walks into our store. What happens then? Did we lose them? And that's where leaning into the technology that's available today with partners like Door Counts. Let's find out what happened when the door swung. What happened once they came in? Did the FedEx guy really come to the store 9 times on Tuesday? I seriously doubt he did. So let's talk about where we're succeeding in getting folks into the store, and then how do we succeed at a higher level once we have them there. So we'll take them on a journey first with education. Three separate blocks of highly interactive Nationwide Learning Academy sessions led by experts in all those areas of the shopper journey. We'll talk about initial consideration and the things you have to do to succeed there.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
Given how things have changed, and then I want you to keep kind of explaining this, but I just want to pause you. Given where things are today, do you have an updated number on what acquisition cost is for a customer to bring them into your store? And I ask the question because Kinsley and I talk a lot about it online, but it's not like, and you and I are going to talk about our session as soon as you get done with the broad overview, but it's not just getting them in anymore. It's like, what do you do to keep them coming back to you, right? So it's expensive to get them in the store. And a lot of people are doing really great right now, and that's fine. But, what's going to happen when things slow down a little bit and you've spent so much money, you got the traffic now. So what is the conversion rate looking like these days for guys?
So without
the cost of acquisition.
Without pulling one of our marketing experts in, they have all kinds of numbers around that would be far more accurate than anything I'd give you off the top of my head. Right now, I believe the cost of acquisition has actually come down a little. When you talk about everything that's been going on in the past year as consumers went through the lockdown, as they spent more time at home, we know that in the appliance industry is a great example. Today, we have millions of connected appliances online where we see that data for use and we really get a better picture of how consumers are using their appliances. Pandemic hits and appliance usage went through the roof. And as we know, when appliance usage went up, so did appliance failures. So we had a lot more folks coming into the market. Add to that the folks who they couldn't take a vacation. There was really nowhere to go. So they focused that discretionary spending on improving their homes. So we saw a lot of folks coming into the market that weren't necessarily induced into the market, where we may not have made the investment that we would have normally made. I believe that number is going to start to become much more relevant as we get into the back half of this year. As travel opens up, the great thing is we're going to start being able to get back together face to face. The thing we have to accept that goes with that is consumers have the option to start traveling again as well. Saw an article this week talking about the cost of Walt Disney World right now. Where are things at? And they're having significant rate increases in response to significantly higher demand. They're seeing a lot of vacations being planned. We know that as consumers begin to vacation again, some of that discretionary spending is going to go towards those areas instead of improving the home. We'll be back to fighting for that attention to the categories that we serve. And then within those categories, we'll be fighting for those duress customers to make sure that we get more than our fair share of the folks that are coming into the market, coming into those independent retail businesses, as opposed to ending up in the disappointing world of the folks.
Mike, I want to ask you what you make of something here. This is a data point that we get from door counts. I subscribe to their retail traffic index to see every day how many people are coming into a store. So door counts has about 800 furniture and mattress stores and appliances. And so they separate it by furniture, mattress, appliance, and then they have footwear because they do a lot in the footwear space. And every day I look at it and it says, maybe 10 people came into mattress stores on average, and then it'll be 30 with furniture stores. Appliance stores are always at 50, 60, 70 people on average are coming into those stores. What do you make of that foot traffic draw for appliance stores? Because you have a really strong appliance background too.
So, Mark, I'm really glad you brought that up. And let's talk. We're gonna rewind the clock a little bit. I know we're talking about the regional events, but we're gonna go backwards. So, Kinsley, how long did you stay off airplanes? I know you had it down to a pretty specific time frame.
It's about 420 days since I'd flown, and I flew recently.
Yes. So we should talk about that. That was our first time getting to see each other in over a year since primetime in Houston, when we dropped in to spend a couple days with the dream team over at Sweet Dreams. Live events starting to come back. We had a live training event with Sweet Dreams. And one of those conversations that came up the day we got there, I'm hanging out with Greg. We're talking about how they're building their business. And they've made a shift over to really putting a highlight on their furniture offerings. And it's based off the same data points you're seeing. Furniture store will see higher traffic than just a mattress store. So it's bringing more folks in. The same thing's true with appliances. Now, when you think about appliances, let's go with your average. Kinsley, let's just pick on you. So how many mattresses in your home are in use on a daily basis?
One. Unless you count dog beds.
Unless you make your wife mad and you end up in the guest room. We're only using one mattress. But now think about appliances. How many appliances are in your home right now?
Yeah. You got the oven, you've got the dishwasher, you've got the refrigerator, small appliances like a microwave.
Yes.
Two refrigerators, because I have one in the garage for all my beer.
Exactly. So you have a house full of appliances, only one mattress. So you're not going to go into the mattress market nearly as often. You will go into the appliance market much more frequently than you will into the bedding market. So when you have multiple categories, and that's one of those where we always try to serve as a conduit, serve as that nexus to help our members grow their business. And one of the things that happens is when you diversify your categories, when you have those higher demand, more frequent demand categories, you become a bigger part of the consumer's life. And once you go through the right processes, as Mark said a few minutes ago, and you create those customers for a lifetime, you take that person that you made a significant investment in acquiring, they came into the store. How high is your percentage chance that the next time they have a need, by default, because their experience was so strong, they're coming back to you? When you do it right and you get there, then you really have a lot of growth in your business, and it can be a beautiful thing. So appliances are simply higher demand. You're going to see more traffic. With furniture, again, think about this. You have one mattress that you're sleeping on. How many pieces of furniture are in your home? I would submit to you it's probably dozens. So it gives you that opportunity as well. We also know that furniture, there's a motivator in furniture other than, hey, I'm not sleeping well, my back hurts. In furniture, it can be you. It can be your wife taking a look at it and going, I really don't like the way that we've got this room set up right now. Let's go change that. So you're going to be shopping for furniture more frequently. So that traffic is just a reflection of a quicker and more frequent purchase cycle. It's not that you're going to replace your refrigerator more often than you will your mattress, but it's simply the fact that there are more appliances to deal with. There's more furniture in your home to deal with, and it generates higher traffic.
I really like that these nuts and bolts are being brought to the surface because, number one, I think Quinn and I are probably more of foot traffic geeks than almost anybody on the planet. But it also gets into some of the content that you guys are going to talk about in person. And when you think about understanding the new customer journey, there are those dynamics that you just described. People spending more time in their home and using appliances more often. And you have a rotating need because one thing breaks, you replace it, and then there's that cascading effect of what breaks next. So that's really good to have in your field of view as you think about what's happening in the consumer journey. And then, like you said, Mike, it's what's going to happen next as consumer spending shifts to these other areas. And then on top of that, like you said, we've fast forwarded, a decade in terms of how the consumer is behaving. So I think it's really valuable. This is like an ongoing thing to anchor ourselves in where we're at, because sometimes we look around and we're like, wait a minute, where am I? What did I wake up in? It's hard to know.
Well, so we're in the process right now. This ties in toward the end. We're in the process right now. As you know, Nationwide Learning Academy, we provide a wealth of training, and we have a brand new LMS that just launched. So a great new user experience. And one of the big launches coming this year, been working for a couple of months on the development of our updated and brand new high integrity relationship based, trust-based sales system, a selling program for folks to do it the right way. And that's going to be debuting a little later this year. And as we did that, I looked over the data from past updates to our old program and went back just 10 years. Just 10 years ago, everybody was shocked as we said that, would you believe almost a third of your shoppers will do online research before they come to the store?
Oh my gosh.
Now you go 10 years later, welcome to this is one of the fun things that hit me the other day, and it's a great way to put some things into perspective. Welcome to the third decade of the 21st century. We're 3 decades in now. And that number is now around 97% of your shoppers will research online before they come to your store. It's a game changer. It's a game changer for where we have to be found, for what's being said about us, for how we're generating a portfolio of shopper reviews online that instill confidence in all of our future shoppers. And then when they come into the store, the shopper walks in today more knowledgeable than they ever had. When the shopper walks in today, they very likely have done a considerable amount of research in their purchase process. As they went through their active evaluation, they have considered many things, from products to where they'd like to shop. And our teams have to be just as knowledgeable. Our teams have to be top notch, or we will absolutely lose. So all of those things will be touched in those 3 phases of the shopper journey around those educational sessions. You'll have choices of different sessions to go to. And Quinn, you look like you're chopping.
Yeah, no, it blows me away, you guys. I mean, to your point, we're in the third decade, and back then it was like a third, and now we're saying it's 98%. So here's the question for people listening. You put on clothes in the morning. You don't want a shirt with holes in it. You don't want pants that are 3 inches too short. You want shoes that fit. You want to comb your hair. Why? And it's all because you want to make an impression on people, especially people if you're meeting them for the first time. Especially that first impression is critical. And for a lot of these people, their first impression of you and your business is your website. And so it's so important to look at it that way. If your website isn't right, if there's typos, if the content isn't compelling, if the About Us section doesn't reveal the heart and soul of who you are and the purpose driving your business, then what are you really projecting out there? Like, it is a big freaking deal. What are the images like? Are you really creating good looking images that are compelling and make people look at it and go, I want that? And so that first impression, or if they've already been to your website, the second and third impression, it is maybe one of the most important things. And I have to give props to Nationwide. You guys have so many resources that help your members get that part right. So anyway, I just love that, but I think it's a really, really relevant point here.
Oh, and you went to the advanced session there, Mark. One of the things that we'll talk about at these regional events, and then we'll share the data from our partners at Google, and we'll really walk through this, is now there is a set of table stakes that are easy to identify. We know there's 3 firm things that your website must do, and a 4th that's highly recommended and I believe will be considered a full requirement within this year. Your website has to do 3 things. It has to answer 3 key questions for the shopper. Do you have it? This is what I'm shopping for. Do you have that? Yes, we have it. Great. And then we go to their all-important second question. When can I get it? Is it available? Am I looking at I can get it tomorrow? Or is it something I'm looking at I can get it in 12 weeks? They want that answer. And their last question, the last question, not the first question, their last question is, so what does it cost? You have it. I can get it in an acceptable time frame. Well, what's the cost? Okay, great. And the 4th one, oh, is it any good? Do you have reviews from other consumers who've used this product to tell me if it's a reliable quality product that does what it says it'll do? If you can answer those 4 questions, do you have it? Really, they're in a different order. Do you have it? Is it any good? When can I get it? Okay, what's it cost? Now, all the things you said, you need to make a great first impression, but don't get too hung up on the aesthetics of the website and all those fun things that we tend to want to do because they're fairly easy to manipulate. If you can't answer those 4 questions, you're in trouble. And I'll give you an example. There's this small retailer, e-commerce online. You may have heard of them. You may not. Strange name, Amazon.com. They have a absolutely disgusting website. Their website is not visually compelling at all. It's not beautiful. The aesthetics are garbage, but it does 4 things really, really well, really fast, really efficiently. It will absolutely tell you. And I know this from prepping for these events, and I'll share this tidbit. I needed a lot of the world's tiniest rubber chickens to prepare for this event. I looked around everywhere. Nobody had them. I ended up having to go to Amazon.com, and I said, hey, Amazon, do you have the world's smallest rubber chicken? And they said, yes, we do. I said, okay, is it any good? Well, it's 4.8 star rated. That's a quality tiny rubber chicken. So fantastic. Now these events are coming up quickly. When can I get it? And it said, delivery as soon as tomorrow. Okay, fantastic. What does it cost? Oh, they're 27 cents a piece. Fantastic. I'll take it. You make the decision, you move on, you're done. It's quick and it's efficient. For a dealer in 2021, your website has to give that same quality experience. When they pop in and they say, I need a new mattress, or I need a new dishwasher, or I need a new sofa. Do you have those? Great. Are they any good? Oh, well, your shoppers have reviewed them and they're highly reviewed. That's fantastic. When can I get it? And that's a key place where there's some struggles because you have to have inventory integration. If you don't have a quality POS, you can't integrate your inventory. If you can't integrate your inventory, you can't answer that question. And today's shopper wants that question answered. Now, if you can't answer it and you say, yes, I have it and you can get it as soon as tomorrow, fantastic. What's it cost? Is your price competitive? I didn't say your price has to be the rock bottom lowest in the market. Is it competitive? If you're competitive, now we have a purchase decision. Now we're in the moment of purchase and we make that decision. So all things that we need to know. But those will be the educational experts leading Nationwide Learning Academy, fully interactive sessions, conversations, Q&As. That's going to start off the day. In the afternoon, we'll move into a roundtable format where we're going to facilitate the opportunity for our dealers to do the number one thing that they want to do, and that's share ideas, share best practices, problem solve together. We're all about solving retail problems, about saving you time and money in your business, and we'll get together and do that with the best minds in the business, and that is the independent retail community inside Nationwide. We'll have a nice dinner event that evening, get some time together to socialize and to network, and the next morning, we'll kick things off, and we're going to skip right past this and then come back to it. We'll kick things off with our keynote session, which we'll come back to in a second. And then we'll have another block of roundtables to share some more ideas on different topics. The topics being covered in roundtables, everything from website best practices, digital marketing best practices in store. One of the hot topics in the business right now, how do you hire and retain top talent? How do you find folks to add to your team that are quality and that will stick around? We'll be covering all those sharing ideas, but we have a very interesting keynote session that kicks off day 2 at all 4 of these events in Dallas, Seattle, Orlando, and St. Louis. And that is a keynote called I Think I'm Okay. Community, Communication, and Conquering the New Retail Landscape, headlined by none other than Mark Quinn. So Mark, can you tell us, how did you come up with such a crafty, yes, sir,
So let's talk about that, because normally if I do keynote speeches, it's something where I will ask the person. Kinsley and I try to be very intentional whenever we get on a stage, and we're good about talking to you and Tom if we do nationwide events, and we say, hey, what do you guys want to hear? Like, what's important to you guys? So we have some participation in creating that. But I was given the assignment today for the leadership conference for Nationwide, because you two mooks took the time to think about the topic for me and assigned me the subject matter that I'll be speaking about. And Mike, you kind of really screwed yourself, because you're going to be alongside of me on the stage. So now you are going to be accountable for helping me make that thing dynamic, exciting, and memorable. So
it's going to be awesome, because anytime we're talking about community, whether it's the local communities that we serve, whether it's the community of fellow dealers, or whether it's the community inside of our own businesses, or even the community we find when we find our tribe and we have our own identity. And Quinn, you are still invited to join Vest Brothers International at some point, perhaps.
VBI.
We did have to flash our VBI cards while we were down in Lake Norman. Those were very handy to have. But that was the thing. The topic was community. And so as a service to you, because we do like to always serve each other and always give to each other, Kinsley and I took on the task of coming up with the title of this keynote because we didn't want to call and bother you with such heavy thinking. And we came up with, I Think I'm Okay.
Kinsley, I want to know, was it you?
It was definitely a yes and moment. We were brainstorming, we were building on each other's ideas, and that's what we landed with. And I don't think it hurt that at some point in Mike and I's journey together, we found ourselves face down in a basketball-sized margarita. And I'm not even kidding. We ordered these margaritas and they came out and they were so giant, it just made you immediately laugh. And when Whitaker calls me now, the picture of him trying to drink out of this giant margarita glass pops up on my phone. But so that helped with the brainstorming process. But it was funny. We were driving along in Mike's golf cart. It's an orange golf cart that he drives around.
Very subtle, very quiet.
Okay, it's a really fast car. Anyway, we're driving along in his car, and we're thinking about you in your speech and how we can absolutely make it as funny as possible on you to get up on stage, but because we know you're up for a challenge. But then it really was a moment of realization about where retailers are today, because people are sitting around going, we've been making hay. Like, sales are coming in. We have not had to do as much advertising, like you pointed out, Whitaker. So are things going to change? I think I'm okay. Am I okay? We all want to know if we're normal. We all want to know if we're okay. And so I knew you guys together would be able to help them define reality and say to themselves, hey, if you think you're okay and you're not paying attention to these three things, you might be okay now, but that could expire very soon. So we were thinking about the dealers. We were thinking about you. We were thinking about how to make that campfire bigger and get people around it and walk away better and more empowered than before.
And one of the key points there too, Kinsley, is that it's perfectly fine to not be sure if you're okay right now. We just came through some pretty crazy stuff. We just came through some unprecedented times for independent retail. You don't have to walk in right now saying, I've got all the answers. You're fine to walk in and say, listen, I think I'm okay, but let me get in a room with a lot of my fellow dealers, a lot of folks who are living the same thing I'm living, and let's compare notes and let's see where we are and let's see if we're really okay, and do that through that community of dealers. These are regionally located, and in many cases, you get that raised eyebrow where they go, hold on, you want me to come in a room with other folks here in my geographic area? No, that's my competitors. And I'll submit to you, no, they're not. Your competitors are if you're an appliance guy, it's Lowe's, it's Home Depot, it's Best Buy. If you're in the mattress business, it's Mattress Firm. If you're in the furniture business, it's Rooms To Go and the folks like that. That's your competition. It's Wayfair, it's Amazon. Your competition is not the other independents in your area. So when you have a community of independent retailers coming together, sharing those ideas, sharing those best practices, As the channel gets stronger, everybody in the channel gets stronger. And that's why I believe these events are going to be so powerful, and they're structured so that you can come in, you can get every piece of content that's available, including I Think I'm Okay with Mark Quinn. You can do all of that with only one night away from home, because the events kick off with lunch and a welcome around noon on the first day. We'll go through that evening. We'll do dinner together. We have a host hotel for all of those with preferential rates. You wake up in the morning and you start off with that keynote. You start off with some more content. We end with a good lunch, and you're on the road headed back home by 1 o'clock. So I would submit to you that in a 24-hour period, there is no place you can grow more, learn more, network more than at one of these regional events. And for nationwide members, registration's been open for a few days now. They can hop in and get registered very quickly and very easily. But as we are so want to do on this show, we don't want to leave anybody out. So we're going to go ahead and say, Dos Marcos listeners, folks subscribing to and joining the fam, if you're hungry to get together with other independent retailers, with experts in every business, faculty within our industry, these events are open to you. All you need to do is come hang out. So May 25th and 26th in Dallas, June 3rd and 4th in Seattle, June 7th and 8th in Orlando, June 9th and 10th in St. Louis. If you're a nationwide member, hop on MemberNet. It's a huge banner at the top. One click, pick your event, sign up. Doesn't have to be the event that's in your local area. Talk to a dealer day before yesterday. He's located in Kansas. He's going to the Orlando regional meeting because he decided to take his family to Disney World after. You can go to any of these you'd like, but they're easy drives for thousands of dealers. So you're able to come in, you're able to participate. If you're a nationwide member, go to MemberNet, click the banner, log in, get yourself registered. There's no cost. There's no registration fee. All you need to do is get there. You've got a great rate for a hotel room for the night, and you're in. If you are not a nationwide member and you'd like to come, we're going to extend an invitation to you.
You know, that's really cool, Mike, that you're doing that for our audience. Thank you, because I think there's a lot of people, Mark and I talk to them frequently, and they're hungry for that, man. They want to get together. They want to share ideas. So I love it. And then just a comment, you know, you and I talked about the talk I'm going to give, and thankfully you're going to join me to add to it because you have such great stories to tell and information to share. But community is the first thing we're going to talk about. Like, what did it look like before the pandemic? What does it look like now? What is the importance of it? What is the difference? How has it changed? How has it evolved? We're all in the same boat, to your point. I would even argue that we're all in this. So if you're in the mattress category, for instance, you're fighting not just, you know, the big box or e-commerce guys, but you're also fighting vacations and remodels to your home and a new car because, you know, there's a consumer list of disposable income. So the question is, as an industry, where are we on the list? And if we're kind of together going the same direction, like how can we improve that? And then we're going to talk about communication too, because, you know, communications change. We talked about it, you know, the video calls, and Kinsley and I are big proponents of the Podium platform and texting and how you utilize that information. And then, you know, how do you conquer the market? It's different, man. The retail environment's different. It's not just what it is now, it's where it's going and what has shifted. The deck chairs have shifted. And I'm so excited because there's nothing like standing in front of a group of people where we can feed off of their energy, look into their eyes, and hopefully give them something, drop something in their lap that inspires them so that when they get done, they leave. And we're going to be talking about Kinsley and I's book, Come Back to Bed, because there's a lot of principles inside of that book that are going to be really helpful and very important to that audience. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait to be with you. And I think it's going to be awesome. So
it's going to be a ton of fun. Now, we need to tell anybody who's in the audience who is not a nationwide member, how do you get yourself a seat at this event? Here's what I want you to do. Take this email address down. We've used it before. We'll use it again. Teamup, TEAMUP at nationwidegroup.org. Now, Kinsley, we need your creativity real quick. We need a super secret password that will only be said here on the Dos Marcos podcast that will be your ticket into those regional meetings. What's our password going to be, Mark?
Double dose.
Ooh.
Double dose.
DOUBLEDOS. Double dose.
Double dose. You send an email to teamup@nationwidegroup.org. Say, hey, I want to come to the regional meetings. The password is double dose. our team will reach out. I'll be in touch with you. Melissa Stinson, who runs our member experience team, will be in touch with you. We'll have somebody in touch with you very quickly. We'll get you signed up. We'll get you locked in. We might even have a special treat for you. So if you'd like to join us, please do. If you're a Nationwide member, if you're not signed up already, what are you waiting for? Don't miss out. Get signed up. Get there. You'll find out all kinds of cool stuff. Mark, I love that you brought up all of the things that are changing, that you brought up Podium changing some things. A great partner of yours, great partner of ours, doing a lot of really awesome things. So much so that at some point, we will not tell the story today, but you will hear the story of what happens when a delivery guy breaks all the rules and sells $11,000 worth of product in consumers' homes in a week. That's pretty fun. That's what's happening with today's new shopper. So we're getting back to live, guys, and it's going to be back fast and furious. Regional meetings. I believe that you have already agreed to return to the stage at Nationwide Primetime in Nashville, Tennessee. That's coming up in August 15th through the 18th. Registration about to open up, nationwideprimetime.com. Give you all the details on that. And I'm going to ask this question, since you guys both have very, very successful backgrounds on the manufacturing side of the business. I've already said from the dealer side, we've got to get back together to share those ideas, to rekindle those relationships, to get around the campfire. It's also great to connect with our partners in the manufacturing community. A lot of great things happen face to face. We've always said the best business happens at the end of the day, having a cocktail at the bar. So that magic comes back. But from a manufacturer's perspective, why is it so critical that we get back to live events and we get back face to face?
I think it's for the same reason that consumers want to come into a retail store. We want to touch, feel, know, ask, relate, connect, and we want an assurance of an outcome. And during times of uncertainty and times of transition, which is what's happening whenever a consumer typically comes into a retail store, they're transitioning in some way. Well, if you're a retailer, if you're bringing in new merchandise, if you're adding a new vendor, you want an assurance of an outcome. You're transitioning and you're putting your money on the line. And so it helps to be able to talk to somebody, understand their values, how their business operates, if it's a good fit. And there's so much nuance there that can't be worked through when you're banging on a keyboard. It just really helps to sit there, have a great conversation, have multiple conversations over multiple days, because new thoughts come into your mind that you get from your interactions with others. So I think it's just the same reasons that people want to connect with people in the beginning, which is we're transitioning, we want an assurance of an outcome. And ultimately, look, this may get a little philosophical, but your days become your life. So every day you have is going to add up to become your life. So do you want to spend it with people that you don't like doing business with? No. You want to spend it with people you love doing business with and people you care about. And the best way to do that is to deepen those relationships in person.
You know,
just take a second to let that sink in.
I know.
That was deep and great.
No, it's so true. And I told a retailer recently, it's not about like what you're doing right now and what you're buying and kind of the assortments you're picking out. Right now, I think it's more about who you're doing it with. Because as you've seen in the past 12 months, you know, there's been some manufacturers that have been really good about working with retailers and communicating and being a legitimate partner, especially in raw material supply crunch time. And then some guys haven't. And so that's an important thing to consider as you go forward. Who's really working alongside of you to push you forward and help your business, not just help their business? So I think that's a really great point, Kinsley.
Guys, I have to say something. I feel a lot more confident in you two taking the reins of the show while I'm in Hawaii celebrating my 15th anniversary. I didn't know how this was going to go. I mean, Quinn, you're punching a lot of buttons over there that you normally don't punch. And luckily, you haven't hit the wrong ones. And I just want to celebrate you once more for that.
Yeah, Kinsley, I thought it was really ironic that in that very profound little tidbit you shared there, you talked about the comfort that comes with assuring an outcome. And I will guarantee you, my friend who I love, you did not do a great job of assuring the outcome when you paired Quinn and I up and said, take this thing out for a ride. So we hope you have a great vacation. Focus on your wife. I'm going to suggest to you, don't listen to those 2 episodes until you get back from vacation. Just know that you're leaving with both of us saying to you, no worries. Hold my tequila. I've got this.
Yeah, right. Mike, the real question is how much crap exactly are we going to deal him while he's not around? That's really the question.
Oh, he'll have to come back to find out. Or if you hang out on the Dos Marcos Facebook page or you hop over on the FAM, there may be some comment threads running around where we actually have a tracker where we track every shot we take at Kinsley while he's laying on a beautiful beach in Maui, while we're still grinding, being the warriors, and making sure that the people get what they need.
Hey, that's the drinking game right there. For every shot you take at Kinsley at home, you take a shot of tequila out of your indestructible Dos Marcos tequila shot glass.
I think we'll take that deal, and mine are right there. I'd have to get up to get them, but I have mine. So, Mark, here's what we do. So that has been officially endorsed by Kinsley that as we start recording the podcast, we sit out the shot glasses. Every time we take a shot, we take a shot. And by the time we're done, who knows which rails we've hopped off of.
You never know.
I just said I felt confident. And now I'm really starting to question how confident I'm feeling, you guys.
That was the goal.
Don't worry. I think he said it best. Here's a tequila shot. Hold my tequila shot. We got this. So, guys, I think something we should plan is a massive tequila shot together, right? The biggest, maybe the biggest,
time.
the largest ever group tequila shot ever. And we're going to do it at prime time. What do you think?
I think we need to call the folks over at Guinness. Let's find out what is the current largest group tequila shot ever done. And let's see if we can break that. Celebrate getting back together. Celebrate the amazing independent retailers who have continued to adapt, continued to overcome, and most importantly, they've continued to serve their communities under some really strange circumstances. Without fail, they are the folks who keep showing up. When we talk a lot about essential workers, taking absolutely nothing away from the medical community and from our first responders and the folks who do so much, and we appreciate so much. I think it's unfair to ever have that conversation and not appreciate what these independent retailers have been able to do. They truly are essential. Your life goes off the rails pretty bad if you don't have a mattress to sleep on, if you don't have appliances that function to properly store and prepare food. It's essential. And these folks never stopped serving their communities, never stopped showing up. And not a lot of folks took the time to notice that. And they didn't do it to be noticed. They didn't do it to be thanked, but they should be noticed and they should be thanked. So I know this comes from both of you, and I know it comes from the entire Nationwide family. What a thrill and what a pleasure and an honor to serve those folks who do so much in their communities and who show up every single day, no matter what.
Well, you guys have served your dealers with such passion and encouragement, everything from navigating the politics that went along with shutdowns and closures to tools and resources so people could thrive and come out on the other side of this thing ready to reconnect and be better than they were before. So great job to the entire team at Nationwide. I mean, it's why we have a partnership with you guys, because we have shared values. And you're serving, I mean, so many of your dealers are our dealers. And so to see the heart that your team put into it and continues to put into it is inspiring. And, I saw it on the front lines when we get to spend that day with Greg and Katie and Matt Mann and the whole team at Sweet Dreams. And they just gobbled it up and put it into action because they believe and they share the values. And as we just continue to connect these dots in our industry and build this campfire bigger, I'm so excited about where this goes, because we don't know. We don't know, but we know one thing. We're going to do it together, and we're going to have as much fun as we can along the way.
We got to make somebody new famous. We haven't made anybody famous in a while. So we had a great day with the team from Sweet Dreams, with the Dream Team. And it was, in a lot of ways, that day was about celebration, but we also did some training. We also got into some nuts and bolts. And it's always great to see when those have meaning to a team and when they take those and they apply those. And it was within 48 hours of leaving. Andrew Lancaster, who manages the Sweet Dreams outlet there in Lake Norman. Andrew grabbed a hold of a few things he learned that day, took them out, put them in practice, and had great results with the shopper as just a result of his effort and his passion and finding a new way to channel that. And it really came down to how to have a conversation. That one was all about how do you have a conversation about a brand you don't carry. It's a brand you could carry, but you've chosen not to. And how do you talk about that with a shopper? And he picked things up from that. He took them back, he applied them, and he created a great experience. So while we do have a superhero at Sweet Dreams in Matt Man, who is irreplaceable, there is only one Matt Man. I'll tell you what, we got another rising star there in Andrew Lancaster, who's going to do some really big things in the coming years. So there's another name to keep an eye on. Another guy around the campfire of the fam who I believe has great things in his future as well.
Love that. Well, I heard about that guy, actually. Kinsley told me a story about him. So anyway, I love it. And it's great to bring more people around. Mike, I can't thank you enough for being here. Love the opportunity that you're giving me where you and I are going to get together and be able to really have some fellowship with the retailers out there in the Nationwide family. If you're listening to this now, please share the Dos Marcos podcast with people. Tell people about it. Tell them about the fam. We want more people at the table because the more, to Kinsley's point, the more we expand the group and bring more people around the campfire, the better the industry gets. There's no doubt about that. Go to iTunes podcast or wherever you hear about the show. And if you don't mind, give us a rating. We would love that. It helps tell others that there's some quality content there. So Kinsley, Mike, and I want you to know that there's no reason at all to have any anxiety. We want you to go to Hawaii. We want you to be with your beautiful wife, Tara. We want you to be on the beach with a ukulele and leis around your neck and some kind of a roast on the beach. We want you to dance in the sunlight, in the sunset, and wake up every morning to the sunrise and just live that pura vida, that pure life, and enjoy your time away and recharge that battery.
And go into it with the full confidence that all the amazing things that have been accomplished over 200 plus episodes of the Dos Marcos podcast, we can't possibly screw all that up in just 2 episodes.
I'm sure that you guys will give it a really good go. And don't worry about me. I have an off switch that I'm going to hit as soon as I hop on that plane. And when I land in Hawaii, I'm sorry, guys, I will not be thinking about either of you at all. That I can promise you. But I'll be cheering for you before and once I get back. And I know that the Dos Marcos audience is in the best hands possible.
And congratulations to you and to your beautiful wife. 15 years. Go celebrate the heck out of that. And I hesitate to so publicly say that you were making a false statement, but I promise at some point during that beautiful vacation, even after the off switch has been hit, you will have a shot of tequila and across the back of your mind will go, those guys. And that's the only thing we ask for.
Like 2 arrows shooting through my brain and continuing on.
Yes.
He's so full of it, Mike. There's no freaking way he's in Hawaii. He doesn't think of us. Come on.
Thank you, Mike, for standing in and doing this. It means a lot. And I've had people in the past say, man, that Whitaker guy has like drops bomb after bomb after bomb of wisdom and knowledge. So I know that once you guys get in there and start flowing, you're going to bring tons of stuff to the table. But you guys are very emotional guys. So just don't cry too much on our microphones. So we don't want them shorting out. Okay.
It's fun. We do have a couple stories that we'll share. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you go have a great time in Hawaii. We're going to go on the road. Mark and I are going to. So you're going to be hanging out in Hawaii, just relaxing and enjoying life, while Quinn and I hop on airplanes and go from Dallas to Seattle to Orlando to St. Louis and truly get out there and engage and fellowship with the dealers. And we'll take a little tiny Kinsley with us. We'll sit him next to Chicken Stanley. So you'll be there in spirit, if nothing else. Nationwide members, get on MemberNet, log in, and get yourself. Yes, we'll take a. Oh, that's scary. MemberNet, get on MemberNet, get yourself registered for the regional events. If you're not a Nationwide member, one last time, we will invite you. We want you to come gather around those campfires, be with your fellow retailers, come and have a couple of days of great learning and great networking. All you need to do, send us an email to teamup@nationwidegroup.org. Use the special super secret password, Double Dose. Double Dose is your ticket in. No fee at all. It's absolutely free. We just want you to be there. And again, like Mark said, that campfire can't get too big. The more folks we have in the room, the more ideas, the more inspiration that are going to come out of that. So if you're in the Dallas, Seattle, Orlando, or St. Louis area, or you happen to live within driving distance of an airport that has a plane that will go to Dallas, Seattle, Orlando, or St. Louis, we invite you to come join us as we make that first move. Sometimes you absolutely just have to get out there and lead. And we have a bit of a reputation for jumping out there and leading. And a big thank you inside our team to Melissa Stinson and the member experience folks for getting this thing together and making this a reality for our dealers who have asked for it, who want it so much. We're back to live, guys. We're face to face, and it starts very soon, May 25th and 26th. We really do look forward to getting out there and seeing everybody face to face, and we can't wait to hear Mark Quinn's I Think I'm Okay.
Well, thank you, Mike. Again, you're awesome. Kinsley, aloha, baby. Enjoy it. And we are out of here. That's a great show. In 3 seconds, count it down. 3, 2,
2,
1.